Yo, better on the mic, it's the Krewe NFC, the roundtable where the real heads be. Talking NFL, the game we adore, but from the touchdowns to the legends and so much more. That fucking guy, he's got the stats on lock, dropping knowledge on the field, watching every block. Pack a pack of bleeding green, cheering loud and proud. In the sea of cheese, as he's standing out the crowd. I can't hear Andy with the looks and the smarts, breaking down the plays, and he does it with heart. Then the stout, solid like the line. His takes are heavy, his vision's divine. Week by week, we break the game down. From every big play to every new crown. Offense, defense, we cover it all. From the springtime drafts to the winner's last call. It's not just a podcast, it's a fan's lifeline. Connecting every moment from the vines to the side.
Good morning, gentlemen. NFL, above average Sunday. We've got the Eagles and the Chiefs. And right now we've got the Krewe NFC Roundtable. Brian, Stout, Andy, how you guys doing? Another great response from you guys. I love when you bring that much energy. So, Super Sunday. Are you guys excited about this game? I mean, what are your thoughts? I know it's the Super Bowl. We're supposed to be, ready to watch the game and get our grub and drink on. But what are your thoughts on this matchup? Are you excited for this or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Is that Tourette's?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
bless you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
What are your thoughts on this game? Seriously, this matchup is kind of lackluster to me.
It's very lackluster because you have the ominous gray cloud that's over the Kansas City Kansas City Chiefs in regards to the potential for, hey, you know what? The narrative says they're supposed to be going for their third straight, and the referees are kind of sort of throwing flags when they shouldn't be, and it's just one of those things. So, you definitely wanted to see Josh Allen, who of course won the MVP. You wanted to see that type of a matchup versus really anybody else, and so this is a replay from a couple 2-3 years ago. Like, ooh, yay, great, man. Next.
I mean, it's the Super Bowl, so yeah, I'm excited for the Super Bowl, but it's kind of like this season just seems so anticlimactic to me. It just didn't seem like, I don't know, it just felt like it was predetermined that the Chiefs were going to be there, and whoever's going to face them in the NFC is face them in the NFC, and the Chiefs are going to three-peat, and Pat Riley's going to make $3 million.
Is that all in the script?
It doesn't seem like it, does it? I mean, not saying it's scripted or not, but it is an entertainment coming out last week industry. What?
Yeah. But even with Pat Riley coming out last week saying, "Hey, sure, no problem, you can use it."
Right? Yeah, they can use it, but all the other shirt manufacturers and everything else.
There you go.
Oh my God, Kendrick Lamar, come on, Bean.
That makes it even worse. Like, that makes me not want to watch.
If you wanted to go historically speaking, why didn't you just bring in the act that was actually playing the first time they played in the Super Bowl? That way everything's going to be the same, even probably the outcome.
Who was it?
Doesn't matter.
Now you posed the question, Andy.
Yeah.
You throw it out there. Now you got to find the answer, dude.
All right, tune in next week, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Who first performed at the
It wasn't the
Super Bowl?
Weekend. That was the Bucks. Was it?
Are you talking about the last time they played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that?
It was Dr. Dre, and wasn't it? Or am I too far off?
Larva? Anybody remembers that movie?
But
man, come on, who
anyway,
hasn't seen that movie?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
right,
come on!
seriously,
Now you're like, you gotta think about it.
Search it. You've totally taken us into a forest and beat the crap out of us and left us for dead, Andy, because no one's going to move on until we get the answer.
Hold on.
But seriously.
Yeah, it was Dree and Snoop and Eminem and Mary J. Blige and Kendrick
on.
Lamar. And
Oh, that was a good halftime show. I'll give it that.
Oh yeah, that was the one in L.A.
Yeah.
Who was right? I just wondered.
So
Who had the
we
answer?
do have to cover. I don't. We do have to cover the game somewhat. Not really interested in the game. We do have a little thing we want to do today and build our own fantasy Super Bowl lineup with the teams we root for. You know, they had to have played in the Super Bowl on your team. You don't have to have won the Super Bowl. NFL championships don't count. AFL champions don't count. So it's got to be Super Bowl era, right? The idea of this is to build your team, put the best team possible out there to win. But before we get into that, let's get into this big game matchup. Chiefs are going to be without Sky Moore. More than likely, he's doubtful. He's got an abdominal injury. The Eagles injury report was kind of I don't even know how to describe it. They got three questionables with Gates, their tight end. I can't pronounce his last name. Brandon Graham is questionable, but he will play. He just got back from injury. And then Kobe is out with a neck injury. So, but on the Philly side, you've got Carter with an illness. Braun out with a groin injury. Landon Dickerson, knee injury. Cam Jurgens back. Devontae Smith, hamstring. But none of them have designation for this game. It's kind of odd to me. I mean, I know there was an illness floating around the locker room in Philly. Carter had been sick all week, but he did participate in full on Friday. Bond participated in full on Friday. Dickerson participated in full on Friday. Jurgens participated in full on Friday. And Devontae Smith participated in full on Friday. But Fridays are usually just a walkthrough. How healthy are the Eagles coming into this game? Is it worth noting the injuries for this, or is it just next man up, let's play ball?
I don't think they're going to have an issue. I mean, I don't think the injuries are going to be too big of a deal. I mean, Brandon Graham's been out all season. I mean, and now he's, good to go in the Super Bowl. He's going to do whatever he has to do to play in that game. I mean, I don't think that their injury report hasn't been really that in the playoffs hasn't been that bad.
Yeah.
So the guys that you're listing aren't. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not
detrimental.
It didn't really hurt them too much with it during the playoffs. So I don't see it being that big of a deal this game. So
have you guys ever seen it go into a Sunday game day? You don't have a designation for people that are on the injury report. I don't remember seeing that very often. And like I said, I use CBS Sports to get the injury report. Then I go and I compare it with other sites, but no injury designation for the game is just weird to me. Usually game time decision, doubtful, questionable, or will play, or just left blank. But these all say, non-determined.
I haven't seen it, and for the past 4 years, I always try to text Adam Schefter, and he never calls me back, so I never really get the inside of really who's hurt. So if you block my number or what.
I don't think it was the text messages that blocked the number. It was the weird nights with the video camera in the bushes that might have done you in. But what are your thoughts on this game? Who wants to go first? Give me your who's going to win, how they're going to win, player of the game. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Since it's my division that's actually representing the NFC.
Any chance you get to pull glory to your.
I do it because somebody always constantly says NFC least all the time, like at least 5 times. Yeah, and it's that one over there. Yeah, they were close, John. Too bad they weren't playing horseshoes. No, I do that because of you. I wouldn't even really say it too much, but I think the outcome of this game comes down to the run game, and I think the Chiefs don't really have a good run stop. I mean, they've shown it throughout the year, and now you're going up against a guy that everybody's saying that should have won the MVP. I think if Saquon Barkley gets the ball a lot this game, the Eagles will end up winning this game. So I don't see. I mean, my biggest issue is going to be how much the ref's going to call holding during this game, which is probably going to set me off as an old lineman of how bad it's going to be. But I think the run game is going to be the big determining factor for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs, to be honest with you. So
Right on.
I think the Eagles got to keep doing what they've been doing all year. Run, and then have Jalen do what he needs to do, and then go from there. So I think Eagles pull it out by 3, and Barkley is the MVP.
From your mouth to God's ears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you want to go next?
Sure. I think this is like, I don't know. I keep hearing about, Saquon Barkley and the big play factor and stuff like that. But if there's somebody that can throw wrinkles against a rushing attack like the Eagles, it's the Spags over there in KC. I mean, he does a lot of, let's just put it this way, his adjustments of everything and how he analyzes an offense, just it's amazing that he continues to do it and that team still continues to win. I really believe the Chiefs won the majority of their games this year on their defense. Patrick Mahomes just had to play average, right? So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you could take that same mentality to this game, make your defense keep, the Eagles off the field, make them, get them to do the 3-and-out situation, go on long drives with your own offense. Patrick Mahomes, this is a big ticker here. Patrick Mahomes in playoff games does like to run. Whenever he sees man coverage and the corners got his back face to him, that's when he takes off the most. And if you look at a lot of his rushing plays, they've been, I think they said in the playoffs, he averages 9.5 yards per rush if he takes off from the pocket. So I think Patrick Mahomes might be actually the key factor in this game offensively, just for the simple fact that if you're not going to keep an eye on him, he'll still kill you with his legs. He's proven it in the playoffs before. We've seen it. I mean, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, even though both teams do have good defenses. I actually think this game's going to probably be in the combined total of like in the 60s range. It should be interesting. As much as I hate the Eagles and I hate the fact that the Chiefs are just continue to win, it's like we're starting to get this almost like a New England feel, where they keep winning. It just keeps getting boring. They are going for history with the three-peat, I guess, in the sense of the Super Bowl era. So, I'll be interested to see that.
Don't give me that Green Bay Packer in the sense of the Super Bowl era comment. Three-peat ever. Let's just go from there.
Super Bowl era.
But you're right. Patrick Mahomes, right? You give them man coverage. You then take and given a man open, unless you spy on your quarterback. That's why Tampa was so successful. That's why Tampa was able to shut down Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, is because they had Devin White and Levante David, who both could run with Mahomes. You need that athletic skill set as a linebacker to keep this quarterback in the pocket, keep him in check, and force him to throw the ball. But Andy, what are your thoughts on today?
So if you remember a couple of days ago, I actually sent of course, it's just a leaked script, that the NFL somehow accidentally leaked, that kind of deal, right? So if you go by that rationale, the score is going to be 41-38 Chiefs. Now, what makes that kind of interesting, you have the Chiefs, they scoring that many points. It's going to look a little bit weird, especially I think Philadelphia's ranked either one or they're definitely top 5 in defense. So if you're looking at a defensive minded team that can actually, get turnovers and actually score on you and things like that, to actually have 41 points scored on you is going to be kind of impressive. But if you unfortunately bring in the X factor, which unfortunately is the refs, and officiating and things of that nature, where you could see a very, very high scoring game. And the defense from Philadelphia definitely has the chops to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, all the receivers and all the they definitely have that type of mentality, and they have the opportunity. Are they going to be able to score more? You never know. 1 or 2 touchdowns may be called back because of penalties and things like that.
Right.
So you just have to look into, again, the X factor. Would I like to see Philadelphia win to actually prevent that three-peat? Sure, why not? I think that would be more exciting for the NFL, because if you have somebody who's actually gone to that final frontier, so to speak, because remember when New England, of course, was going for the undefeated record and things like that, they ended up losing to Eli and, of course, the Giants. It's just simply one of those things where you need to continue that drama. And I think if Kansas City ends up losing, Philadelphia is going to be, I think, everybody's heroes at that point, well, at least this year. But
right. I don't think it's ever going to turn the table to where everybody likes Philly. You either are a Philadelphia Eagle fan or you dislike Philly, right? I mean, I've never met someone that's like, Philly's all right. And I've never heard anybody say that.
It's like the Cowboys or the Bucks. They're just one of those things where people just nod and smile. Yeah, okay, yeah, they're here too.
Well, to be fair, the Bucks were irrelevant for decades. Let's not pretend like the Bucks
are
great. But anyway, having said that,
they still
you guys both brought up topics that I find very interesting. One is the penalties, and 2 is the score. So Philadelphia Eagles offense, if they go to the run game, it's not like your traditional run game where you're looking at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives. The Philadelphia Eagle run game is big play. You understand what I'm saying? Saquon Barkley busts 20-plus yard runs on a consistent basis. That could be to the detriment of the Philadelphia Eagles. You're going to keep putting that defense out there. If it goes high scoring, like in the 60s, and you're within a 1-score game going to the end of this game, you got to lean towards Kansas City here, right? They've done it time and time and time and time again to where they're in that 1-score game, and you get a call here, the ball bounces that way. Travis Kelce's in the back of the end zone open because somehow nobody remembered to cover the best receiver on the damn team. Anyway, but yeah, I think the Saquon Barkley could rush for 170 yards. And he could put up 3 touchdowns. But because he's got that big play potential, you're putting a defense out there on a consistent basis. You're always putting them out there, always putting them out there, always putting them out there. Whereas Kansas City is methodical in their drives. They don't have the big play all the time. They have the dink, 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 15-yard pass, 15-yard penalty, pass interference in the end zone. Patrick Mahomes runs it in. You know what I mean? So it's that drawn out that's going to keep that defense on the field. That could be the determinant of the Philadelphia Eagles, not to mention the fact that they've had that illness floating around the locker room now for a week.
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way. They've been doing it all year round. So it hasn't like they do it every once in a while. That defense has been doing it all year long with that. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a factor too much because the defense has already kind of been used to it already. That even though they're out there, they've been doing it all year. It's not like it's just going to happen. And, we talked about the defense as not being out there for so long, but when you've done it on a consistent basis all year long, just like, Mahomes has done it, the Chiefs have done. I mean, that's the thing that the Eagles have done it all year long with Barkley. So
you can't necessarily put that in your play schedule for that particular, this set of downs, we're going to go out there, we're going to go for a run, a pass, a penalty. So now we're going to have a first down, then we're going to do a pass, run. When you're actually adding that into your play scheme, something's wrong. And we might be joking about it, but that's going to happen once or twice, 5, 10 times. That's baloney. There's other words I want to be able to use for that too, but
there's a couple more things that when I was going over this game and looking at obviously prop bets and stuff like that, there's two things that actually stood out to me. And then I went back to when they played a few years ago. The same two players popped up as key components of how their offenses worked. I think, depending on the Saquon Barkley factor, I think Devonta Smith is going to be a big key in this game for the Eagles. They're probably, depending on, how Saquon does this, he's kind of like your slash guy, your cut guy. And he'll catch a lot of, short passes, but it's the yards after the catch that's important. And if you look back at the previous Super Bowl they played, he came up big time for them, even though they fell short to the Chiefs. Now, if you go to the other side of the ball, obviously the Chiefs doesn't have the weapons like the Eagles do. However, they've got, a smart Patrick Mahomes, which likes to take advantage of man coverage. But also the biggest key in that previous Super Bowl was Travis Kelce. And just like, Mike Sidora says, it's like everybody seems to forget that he's out on the field all the time. Like he just runs open. How does he get open? And, I think that those are the two players to truly watch in this game. I think that they will be the keys to both offenses.
The whole Kelce getting over thing blows my mind. Not fast, not overly athletic, right? It's just he's crafty, I guess, or he like changes jerseys mid-play. I don't know, but he's always seems to be open when he needs to be open. He finds that soft spot of the zone. He finds a way to pick on the man to where he can just sit down, catch the pass, and then stumble for like 14 yards. It's amazing to me how. What's that stuff?
He runs into players, knocks them over, and then he's wide open. He does that too.
But you get what I'm saying? I mean, how can you have a guy like that wide open?
I don't get it either. But I mean, the biggest issue with it, what Brian talked about, and everybody's talking about, is that man coverage. The Eagles didn't play a lot of man this year. They played mostly zone. So I don't know if that's going to be a determining factor if they're going to switch up what they're doing or not too. So I don't know. Talking about Kelce getting open is, I don't know how he does it. I don't know like how people forget he's there. They're like, don't do nothing with him, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, we got to focus over here, and then I think that's what the issue happens with him mostly. So
he's running down the field. He bumps into somebody and says, that script. They know not to cover him.
So Brian's already brought up player to watch in Smith for the Eagles. Who do you guys see as your player to watch? I mean, Barkley, yeah, but is there anyone else that you think is going to be a key factor in this game?
Your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, for a couple of reasons. He's the one that's going to facilitate either your running or your play. He's actually gotten a little bit better at actually like reading the defenses and actually being able to kind of sort of throw the ball to a player who's, can either going to be open or, can get him the ball down the field somewhat effectively, at least a little bit better than recent weeks and even years. So I think he's going to definitely be a key factor in it. I think the defense is going to be probably the other key factor, because if you could actually get to Mahomes without getting a penalty, you knock him around a little bit, and he's going to get his happy feet as well, and he might be able to throw a pick, or at least a few that he wouldn't normally, and that would actually allow the defense to be able to either take over or even get a turnover. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
my player to watch. No, it's not a player. I'm going to be watching the umpires. What I'm going to be watching, because I swear if they start throwing holding penalties, I'm going to start losing my. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the umpire like all game long. See where his hand goes. See if it gets ready to get lined up to throw that flag when anything happens. I'm telling you right now. No, seriously. It's basically for the player that I want to see what happens is their rookie for the Chiefs is Xavier Worthy, how he handles it. How he handles the Super Bowl. The game against the Bills, regardless of what everyone wants to talk about, if it was a catch or wasn't a catch, we're talking about it because he made it look like it was a catch. If you want to like get what I'm saying, like that's a big time play for a rookie receiver in a big time.
He was in the position to make the play. I mean,
so yeah. So I mean, going without like I'm picking Barkley to be the guy that I want to look at, but on the other side of the ball with the Chiefs, it's going to have to be him because the way he handled himself in that Bills game, I guess it wasn't very shocking to me, but it was watching everybody else like kind of go nuts at how well he handled himself. He's been that way since he's been in college. And I followed his career through because he was supposed to be going to Michigan and some things went through and he ended up going to Texas. So I've been watching him and he's had that mentality to big games like that. So I want to see how he handles this game and see how he does. So I think that'll be another one to watch.
So my player to watch for the Eagles is going to be on the defensive side of the ball, and it's Carter. I mean, if he can play at 100% and wreak havoc in the interior of that line, he can force Mahomes off his spot and force Mahomes to throw off scripted plays. The only problem with that is Mahomes can throw off scripted plays, but you need to get at Mahomes. You need to get him off the spot. You need to get him rattled a little bit. And I think Jalen Carter has proven he can do that. And I think that he'll be a key player to watch this game. And for the Chiefs, unfortunately, I think it's Kelsey. And I can't stand that because I'm sick of all the hoopla that surrounds him, as Jerry so eloquently called it. He's an athlete. He's not fast. He's crafty. He's smart. He's going to get open. He's going to get the ball. He's going to make the play when you need it. Hopefully they don't make the play. But, yeah, Jalen Carter, Travis Kelce. Those are my players to watch today, other than Saquon Barkley, who I think everyone has as a player to watch. And if Philly wins, I think he's your MVP. But
it's kind of interesting that you're, as big as Swifty as you are, if you actually take down that little big thing in the back, you've got that big poster.
Yeah, I do have that huge. What was that name of her song?
Oh, you know every single one. You've been to concerts. You dress like her in your off time.
The one thing that did catch my eye about this game, watching different people talk about this game, I'm not going to mention who said it. There was a couple people that mentioned it. They said, they probably should take a backup like linebacker or your corner, put him in the game, and then as soon as Mahomes decides he wants to pull his crap, just absolutely unload on him. And you don't really lose anybody because it was, second, third string, and just absolutely unload on him. That's the only way that people are going to get him to stop doing what he's doing. Because the refs ain't going to stop it. The NFL ain't going to stop it. And I'm still waiting for that to happen. Not that I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And he's not breaking the rule. I mean, he's doing everything in the rule, but at the same point, he's found a loophole in it. And these refs let it go. I just think they need to find somebody because as soon as he gets absolutely destroyed, I think the NFL will do something about it.
Yeah, just like the Kenny Pickett fake slide in college, they eliminated that right away, right? Mm-hmm. But and you're right. How great would it be? I'm not saying to injure anybody or go out trying to injure anybody. Happens all the time. But how great would it to see someone like Steve Atwater, John Lynch, Jack Tatum, Sean Taylor just come up from the safety position and just waylay Patrick Mahomes one time. Full speed, just earhole him. That would make – I don't care if the Chiefs win. If I saw that one time and not a flag, I would throw a party the next week. How great would that be? Valid point, Jerry. That's the most contributed to the show all year.
I know the other Jerry contributes more.
There's another Jerry?
Yeah.
But I went back to work, got up on Monday morning, and there it was. Glory hole.
Indeed.
There it was. Glory hole. All right. Now that we got the boring part of the show over, right. Before we get into our what do you call it? Fantasy Super Bowl teams. You got some bets for this Super Bowl for us?
I can't see
Looks
that.
like he does.
Okay. I am taking the over in this game. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm playing this interesting parlay, and I did some research on this. I'm really liking this, and it pays out really well. So this is what it is. Saquon Barkley, 25 plus yards in the first quarter total rush. Saquon Barkley, 25 plus yards second quarter rush. Saquon Barkley first half touchdown. Travis Kelce, 25 plus receiving third quarter. Travis Kelce, 25 plus receiving fourth quarter. Travis Kelce second half touchdown. That goes off at plus 10,376.
Good Lord.
And I think it's happening.
You hope it's happening. I only put $100 on it.
But other than that, I mean, basically, I think, I'm actually playing something where it's actually where Saquon Barkley analytically will be the fastest offensive ball carrier. You can get that at plus 245.
That's funny.
But
all
no,
this
that's
technology. You get these new bets.
Yep. So, but that parlay, that super parlay I gave you, that's what I'm playing. So,
I got heads. It's my bet.
You like to give it.
Wow, that went over like a brick.
Wow. I set it up and stopped. Didn't wait a second. He had that fully ready.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. That was terrible.
I'm always prepared.
that might have been the quote of the year.
He's a Boy Scout. Camps with him. Anyway. So, shall we get into our super team? Who would like to go first?
Of course.
Andy.
Well, hey,
Let's pause for Andy to read us the actual roster of the 1985 Bears.
I think we should do it.
There you go.
We should do it this way: least to most. So then I could go Andy, Mike, and then Brian, and then I'll go.
That's fine. And we can
That is
interject our thoughts on these players that you guys pick or I pick. You can definitely.
That just gives Stout time to rewind the VCR.
He still hasn't done it.
Or the old beta.
He's like, let me go last. Quarterback.
Yeah.
How do you spell Aikman?
Let me actually first off, I do this under protest because the Bears had won several different NFL championships before the Super Bowl, and so those actually should be counted as well, just simply because you have players like Sig Luckman, Brockman Nagurski, Red Grange, guys that have absolutely are NFL. I mean, that you can't get any more than that. However, shush, Andy's blabbering. Yeah, I gotta. I'll wait till after to say what I want to say.
Come on.
But the reason why I actually chose a majority of the 85 Bears is for really a couple of reasons. Number one, iconic, yes. But it also actually developed into something a little bit bigger, better that really nobody had ever seen before. So they're trend setting. And that was, of course, Buddy Ryan and his famous 46 defense. So if you're going to sit there and overload your offensive line, you're going to have a good portion of your team who are going to be NFL Hall of Famers. Walter Payton, of course, if you're looking at Super Bowl 20 was able to actually, running back, by the way, he was the one who was actually able to actually draw everybody away from everything else. And that's how they were able to get, 5 to 8 yard, dunks down on the flat. That's why, Matsui was able to get so many yards, for example. That's how they were able to push the ball downfield to, Willie Gault and Dennis McKinnon and things like that. Mike Singletary, in regards to your linebackers, Urlacher, Briggs, those kind of guys, incredible players. But in this particular case, I'm going to have to go with Mike Singletary because of that absolute, utter devastation of that defense. You needed to have that captain in order to be able to make sure everybody was in the right spot, make sure everybody was, where they're supposed to be in that particular defense. Richard Dent, NFL, he was actually the MVP for, of course, Super Bowl 20, defensive player. He not only gave you sacks, but he disrupted how many plays? He was going to be in the backfield almost instantly, so you knew that your running back had to get off of that line, and quick. If not, you had Richard Dent or even Wilbur Marshall or even Mike Singletary right on you as well. Now, as far as like quarterbacks, for example, you, of course, had a funky QB. If you're going to have a team that's going to be like that, full of characters who are definitely having fun during that game, you needed to have a quarterback that was going to be able to take the pressure off of the building into the Super Bowl, which, of course, if you had seen the documentary, that was Jim McMahon. Bruising his hip during the championship game, I believe it was. He, of course, showed the cameras and showed the helicopters with the cameras, where his bruise was, just happened to be on the, the backside of his front. Releasing any and all pressure that the team in and of itself might have actually faced towards the impending game itself. Dan Hampton of the other defensive line, Steve McMichael, you had all of these iconic players, Hall of Famers, who, of course, were able to actually take that 46 defense and actually turn it into something really kind of special. And don't get me wrong, the other Bears from the other Super Bowl team did well. They surely did. But unfortunately, what was the outcome? You had Indianapolis with their little dinking and dunking and things like that ended up getting the job done at the end. So, and that was, of course, what you had mentioned, Sexy Rexy and the boys.
But
in this particular...
Wait a minute. You faced New England, who had Eason, versus arguably the greatest quarterback of all time in Peyton Manning. You can't just dismiss the Bears' defense in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, again.
He just did.
Come on.
Because who ended up winning that game?
But you went against the greatest quarterback.
Peyton Manning, first off, is mediocre at best. He had the players around him to be able to make him good. Look at that same thing with Patrick Mahomes. He's got the players around him to make him good. The quarterback was just a facilitator. He's facilitating.
Just keep.
And that guy that actually played in New England, then played in Tampa Bay, facilitator.
Keep reading the 85 roster. I just thought I'd throw it out there that defense did face Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning, as opposed to Stacker at Bagger at Value Mart in Eason. I mean, it's a huge difference.
Very little to none. They were all Super Bowl teams. It's just that you had something that to that point the NFL hadn't really seen in that defense. If you're going to be overloading one particular side and you just had, 4 or 5 people really within 2 or 3 blockers, that the defense is going to win that. And that's why they were able to get as many, sacks and interceptions and things of that nature. And that's why they went through the playoffs. The last 2 games, they didn't get scored on. And then they go into the Super Bowl, 10 points.
Yeah.
And that's why the 85 Bears in particular, if anything, would be, let's not take into account the fact that, different generations are a little bit different. So you have like, Jay Hilgenberg and, Tom Thayer and, Van Horn, those type of 85 Bears and things like that. Take Jalen Carter, for example. Do you think that they'd be able to actually control somebody who's, 6'5", 300 pounds plus and can move like lightning? It's just a different generation. So you are going to have to keep that in mind.
What you're saying.
I think we made a mistake letting Andy go first. We should have waited till the end so he didn't have that much time.
Right. So, offensively, you've got Jim McMahon, Walter Payton. Who's your receivers?
You got William McGault. You got McKinnon. See, that's the thing, too, because your receivers are actually – they were almost secondary within that. They were able to get the ball down the field, of course. But who's going to be a workhorse? Walter Payton. Walter Sweetness Payton. who can catch the ball, who can throw the ball, who can run the ball. I think he played defense. He was like the Cordell Patterson way before Cordell Patterson. He threw the ball to himself, scored, and tackled himself on the same play.
Little known fact, Walter Payton completed more passes in one season than he had Super Bowl touchdowns. Anyway, so
another brick.
He had 0 Super Bowl touchdowns. Just throwing that out there. Bridge had 1. Anything else you want to add to your 85 dares taunt or rant or whatever?
Tight end, Emery Moorhead. But then, of course, you have that defense, which is Gary Fensick and Dewerson and, Marshall and Singletary.
I really thought it'd be a harder decision for you in the linebacker room. I mean, you got Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall, Mike Singletary, but then you also have Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher. I just thought you'd have a little more.
Yeah, generally speaking, the only reason why I picked the 85 over really the 06-7 Bears or whatever is very simply because of that entirety of the defense itself, the 46 defense. Athletics, athlete-wise, then I would probably swing a little bit more towards Briggs and Urlacher and those guys because the 85 Bears were incredibly athletic, but again, generally speaking, the players were different. Even from the 2006-7 to 2025, the players are completely different. Bigger, faster, stronger, that kind of thing.
Copy that. Anyone else got something they want to ask Andy before we mute him so he can't talk anymore about this?
No. Mute.
All right.
And Steve McMichael with the wrestling, I just want to be able to share with you, especially with that last statement.
Anyway. All right. Here we go.
Completely different company.
The Cannons. Let's win the Super Bowl. Anyway, left tackle, I got Roman Oben. Left guard, Ali Marpet. At center, Ryan Jensen. Right guard, Alex Kappa. And right tackle, Tristan Wirfs. If you look at this offensive line, I pretty much took the last Super Bowl Bucks offensive line, except I left Donovan Smith at home like they chose to do after that season. At tight end, I've got Rob Gronkowski. I'm only taking one tight end here. I know some of you took 2. I only took 1 because I'm going to slide in an extra wide receiver. At wide receiver, I got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Keenan McCardell, Keyshawn Johnson, who I was really debating on adding here. He seemed more of a cancer to me than anything else, but he was a great, great talent. But I am sliding in Joe Jaravicius as my 5th wide receiver.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it just because you picked. I'll allow it because you picked him. You were supposed to do 2 tight ends, but I'll allow it.
But Jaravicius, Bucks aren't in the Super Bowl without Joe Jaravicius that season. Went through great turmoil that season and still played and performed well in the playoffs. At kick returner, I have Antonio Brown. Slid one in the back door there. Mike, shut your mouth. Antonio Brown returning kicks. He did return 1 kick for the Bucks that season, so it counts. All right. Running back, I have Leonard Fournette and Michael Pittman. At fullback, I have the A-Train. You can't put anybody else at fullback in the NFL over Mike Allstott, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Never heard of him.
I'm going to do
at QB, I'm going to – this is going to blow your guys' mind. At QB, 2, I'm going to take Brad Johnson. At QB 1, I'm going to take Tom Brady. And then as a kicker, I've got Martin Gramatica, who was automatic and is still involved with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then I have Bradley Pinion for my punter. The defensive side of the ball is where I really struggled here. With the Bucs defense being so good in 02, it really made me – I mean, Bucs 2020 defense was a 3-4. 02, 4-3. So I went nickel. All right. At defensive end, I have Simeon Rice. Defensive tackle, Warren Sapp and Vita Vea. And at the other defensive end, I have Jason Pierre-Paul. At my linebacker, I've got Derek Brooks, Levante David. And then I have Dwight Smith as my other linebacker. At corner, I have Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly. A lot of people overlook the fact that Brian Kelly had 8 interceptions that season that the Bucs won the Super Bowl. At safety, I've got Antoine Winfield Jr. and the hitman John Lynch. Nickelback, extra DB, if you will. I'm going to throw Dexter Jackson in just because he got the MVP. I don't really think he belongs on this list, so to speak. But if you're going to give me the position to take it, I'm going to take it. Dexter Jackson. There's my roster. Brian.
Oh, I guess I got to go next. All right. Awesome. So obviously, you know, when we were given this assignment a couple days ago, or was it just yesterday?
It was 2 days.
I thought that was this morning.
Oh, okay. So, you know, first thing that came to mind, and I think Mike, you even put in the text thread, was quarterback for my team. It's like, whoa. So who do you go with? So I'm actually just going to start there. And you're going to find this interesting too. My QB2 is Brett Favre. My QB1 is Bart Starr.
Absolutely. Great choice. I applaud that.
Both Hall of Famers. Bart Starr obviously won 5 championships with the Packers, was probably the dominant quarterback of the 60s. So so that's what I went. So my running back tandem is Dorsey Levens and Edgar Bennett. My fullback, Hall of Famer Jim Taylor. Then my wide receivers, I did 4 receivers, 2 tight ends. So I got Antonio Freeman, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. I didn't see that.
And he's still slick enough to try to deter the show.
Yeah, of course. Okay, my tight end room is Mark Shimura and Keith Jackson. And then
wait, go back to your receivers for me real quick.
Greg Jennings, Antonio Freeman, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson.
Was Sterling not on the roster because of injury at that point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't, because I was
hoping
you were going to say.
Trust me. I was
hoping
love.
you were going to.
Nope.
You were going to say him. I was going to call you out so bad.
Nope, because I even went on to Pro Football Reference to go make sure he wasn't on the squad or whatever.
You're like, was he on the IR roster at least? Give me something.
I would have to. I'll go on there and look, but let me get through this, and then obviously I'll just ignore the Cowboys. Anyways, so my tight end room: Mark Shimura, Keith Jackson, left tackle Chad Clifton. Left guard, Aaron Taylor. Center, Frank Winters. Right guard, Hall of Famer Jerry Kramer. Right tackle, Forrest Gregg. My kicker, Mason Crosby. Punter, Craig Hendrick. And my kick and punt returner, Desmond Howard.
Solid.
And then on defense, going with the 3-4. So my left defensive end, Hall of Famer Reggie White.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, never heard of her. Nose tackle, BJ Raji. Right defensive end, Hall of Famer Willie Davis. At my left outside linebacker position, Clay Matthews. Left inside linebacker, Ray Nitschke, Hall of Famer. Right inside linebacker, AJ Hawk. Right outside linebacker, Hall of Famer Dave Robinson. And then my left side corner, Charles Woodson, Hall of Famer. Right side corner, Herb Adderley, Hall of Famers. Strong safety, Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer. And yes, Willie Wood, Hall of Famer, free safety.
Oh. All right. Sorry.
There's the level Hall of Famers.
Well,
but it's Stout. You should be good. You have, the most Super Bowls, and you have the longest wait. So in Super Bowls and on the show.
Yeah, and here we go. Stout did his homework, and I really went in depth with this. So, and I'll explain what I'm doing. So I kind of went with your guys' version.
But I went back to work, got up on Monday morning, and there it was. Glory hole.
Glory hole. Jerry makes me drink.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't know who did that.
Fun. QB. I really, when I built this team, I really thought about how it would match up with all three of your teams. So my first quarterback I'm going with is Troy Aikman. I did that to go up against basically the 85 Bears because Aikman's got a quick release like Marino, and we all know what Miami did to the Bears. And then second is the captain, Roger Staubach, that it will be going up against you other two. Running back.
No Tony Romo? No Romo?
He wasn't in the Super Bowl.
Romo?
Romo.
Romo didn't go to Dak?
Yeah. So
Dak
running back.
Dak.
It's a hard pick. Number one, I went with Tony Dorsett, and then number two, I went with Emmitt Smith.
Why Dorsett?
Why not?
I think if Dorsett had the line that Emmitt Smith did, I think he'd get more yards. To be honest with you,
I agree. I agree 100%.
The offensive line in the '70s was good, but I think it was Dorsett. They both could catch the ball out of the backfield. Dorsett was a little bit faster, and that's why I kind of edged Dorsett in there a little bit of more than Emmitt. It just basically came down to the start off speed and everything else. That's basically what I did. I mean, it's a toss up between the two. It's a toss up between the two.
I agree with you 100%. Other than the toss up part, I think Tony Dorsett was a better back. Emmitt Smith had the longevity that got him the numbers,
Yeah.
but Tony Dorsett was a better, more explosive back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so that's why he's number one.
You had that line, that offensive line.
And that fullback, the greatest fullback that there ever will be, ever.
Mike Allstott only played for the Bucs.
Daryl Moose Johnston. Allstott didn't have a rushing leader, but Daryl Johnston's my fullback. And my receivers. This is where I kind of got a little tricky trying to look to name all four that I wanted to get. I went with the cocaine cowboy first, my buddy that I love. Second, number 88, Michael Irvin.
Goddamn.
I was waiting for somebody to do it. I thought Mike would actually jump in, but nice one, Brian. Two, I went with original 88, Drew Pearson. Three, I went with Bob Hayes.
The Bullet.
The Bullet, Bob Hayes. And then the fourth one was I went between Alan Harper and Lance Bambi Allworth. And I ended up picking Lance Allworth to go with that, to have somewhat of a slot receiver. The reason why he did so well is because he ran routes really well. Was able to get open. So those are my four receivers. Tight end, I went with Jay Novacek. And number two,
Dallas
can we mute Andy right now? Number two, Mike Ditka. You guys don't know, he was the Dallas Cowboys. He played with the Dallas Cowboys. My left tackle, this is where I had fun with the offensive line. I built this offensive line for two people, Reggie White and Richard Dent. That's the only reason I built these two offensive lines to help out. Left tackle, I got Rayfield Wright. I'll get to that, Andy. Rayfield Wright. Left guard, I have Nate Newton. Center, which a lot of people won't know this, but he's one of my favorite. He's number two of my favorite offensive linemen ever. Center, Mark Stefanowski. If you go look up Mark Stefanowski and what he did to make the team and everything he's done, it's something to look into. My right guard, who is my favorite offensive lineman of all time, Larry Allen. My right tackle, a lot of people won't probably hear of him, but his name is Eric Williams. He was a Super Bowl champ, and he would have been, when you make Larry Allen say, "Oh God," when you're in the weight room, how strong he was. If he would have lasted, he would have been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame first ballot. Kicker, I struggled between two, but I went with more of the percentage of making field goals, so I went with the 90s kicker, Chris Bonio. Punter, I'm going to get you guys on this one. Punter, Danny White. So if Troy Aikman or Staubach get hurt,
Come on, man.
look up the stats, dude. He punted. Look it up.
No, that's like I thought I was being slick with Antonio Brown. That was good.
And kick return. Well, the original Neon Deion Sanders, baby. I mean, you can't get any better than that. Coaching the teams, I got Jimmy Johnson and then Tom Landry as an assistant coach there. If that helps. So, left end, I got Ed 212 Jones. D tackle, I got the original Cowboy himself, Bob Lilly. That was a struggle between going from Russell, Maryland to him, but I went with Bob Lilly. And then nose tackle, I went with Randy White. Right end, I went with Charles Haley. Weak side linebacker, I just did it because, I mean, there was a couple to go through, but, I mean, I just like saying Leroy Jordan, who was a Hall of Famer. Middle linebacker, Chuck Howley. And the other linebacker, I got Ken Norton Jr. My corners, I got Mel Ranfrino, who's a Hall of Fame. Deion Sanders, another Hall of Famer. And this one was kind of tricky to get down to it. Might be Mike trying to mention, but I went with Cornell Green. If you look up interception rates on all those, good luck throwing the ball. My free safety, I have Cliff Harris, who's in the Hall of Fame. Again, I went with somebody that, as a free safety, made a lot of interceptions. I went with him. And then at safety, the man that should be in the Hall of Fame that doesn't get enough credit is Darren Woodson.
Right.
And then
I thought for sure you were going to try to squeeze Bates on there.
And then my favorite player for special teams, Bill Bates. You didn't let me
I knew it was coming.
I don't care what it is. Special teams is Bill Bates. I don't care.
I thought you were going to slide him in at free safety.
I was going to, and I looked it up, and I'm like, I can't leave Cliff Harris off this list. He's in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, I'll just make up a spot that wasn't on the list.
Hey, it's our list, so yeah. Good on you guys. That'd be amazing if someone could create something like that. I don't know, Madden maybe, where you could pull players off all the Super Bowl rosters, put them against each other, put it in the season, and see who wins out. I think that'd be pretty cool to actually see how it all played out. But alas, technology hasn't come that far. So I'll be doing that on Madden later today. I'll replay this and get our teams on the game. Probably when the Super Bowl is gone, because it's going to be boring. What you guys got any closing thoughts for today?
Oh yeah, getting this list here. It was fun going back through the VHS tapes and going back and looking and going back through the old videos. And I tried what Andy said. I didn't realize they put them all on YouTube and stuff, so I got to go and did it that way. But touching it, rewind. Please be kind and rewind. That's all I got to
say. Andy or Brian, you got anything?
Yeah.
Go Reps.
Congrats to Sterling Sharp finally getting in. Long overdue. And to answer your question, his career was cut short in 94 and the Super Bowl team was 96. So
yeah, I didn't know if he was like still on the injured roster, if they made that final decision, the designation yet. That's why I was. Yeah.
And then one thing I do want to say, and yeah, this is coming from a Packer fan. My condolences to the McCaskies with Virginia passing away. Obviously, it is a big deal in the NFL. I mean, she was the oldest owner. Dad founded the league, and it's a great loss. And condolences to the McCaskies.
Dad not only founded the league, but he saved the Packers.
Right.
I mean, that's little known, but yeah, he did save the Packers organization.
And of course, the passing of Dick Duran, former Bears, and I think he was a Grey Cup winner several times over. So
yeah,
just like that thing that I posted, both Dick and Virginia,
What was that?
Both Dick.
Excuse me?
And Virginia.
This is a weird show, guys.
They've both ridden off into the sunset.
All right. So the Bears had a loss. We got it. We're not going to go any further in the Dick and Virginia. But what does the Bears organization do? We'll see. Do they sell? Do the children of Virginia take over? I don't know if that's best for the organization. But anyway, as always, I'd like to thank our families, our wives, for letting us come on here, letting us come on this platform, be idiots for at least an hour every Sunday. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you later.
Hey guys.
Hey, it looks like he did it different this time. Let himself out. Like his list is any good. Seriously.